again, they have, like, when they've lost some of these games, it has been because their defense has faltered, like against Gen.G and FaZe when they lost those series. You know, defensively, they were only getting like 6 or so rounds as well. They had to have like a really strong attack to help. They don't usually dominate defensively, is what I'm saying. They usually get like 6 or so rounds to give themselves a chance.
So is that kind of the temperature in the water for you here? Like, you need 6 or 7 if you're Rise on this first defensive half in your mind?
I think you need 5 or 6 rounds, yeah.
Okay. Well, there's the frame up. Rise going to get a little bit aggressive. Whoa, sick. Has he fully anticipated this? Timing it might just be perfect. Tens is going to read it for sure. And they will very quickly back away as Sentinels will actually use the forward position from Shazam to get quickly on over towards A. Derek backing away, but look at Dapper. He's already cutting off this rotation in the back. It just comes down to the timing. Does he want to peek this or does he want to just hold? It looks like he's just going to hold. Spike is going to come down. The trigger doesn't put everyone but oh no! Doesn't find anything. Shazam is still punching Spike. He's able to take down one. And with that, it will go trade for trade. We're in a 3v3.
Yeah, let's see how the rest of this plays out because that was a little bit, I don't know, like just anticlimactic. But Sentinels do still go with the win, I guess. Zoms didn't deserve her wreck like that, man. He did everything so right except for click the mouse at the right place.
The thing about it, though, is, again, you have 2 players
a lot of information
so far forward. It's just, yeah, there's no way that Rise cleanly take through and paint shells are so huge. So, a little unfortunate for
The thing is, I would say his aim was actually even better than you think because he managed to click the one spot where someone's head wasn't at. Like, he actually found the gap. So, I mean, tip your hat to him.
Yeah, that's intentional, of course.
Early detection system. You know, he's just like a really loud alarm bot, you know? That's all it was. It's all fine.
Well, Sick will take paint shells to clear out Hookah. Superman was considering contesting it, but backs away. Heavy defensive stack here for Rise over towards the B side, trusting that Poise can lock things down and maybe even walk away with one, but he's going to walk away with none as he decides instead to tactfully retreat. And instead, Rise are going to overload B long, trying to maybe play around the back.
Yeah, I mean, they have to roll the dice in a round like this. You don't really have the weaponry. You have to try to go for these, you know, crafty pushes and stacks. And unfortunately for them, by the time they get into position, Spike's already down. Great post-plant positioning from Sentinels. They have a player watching for this flank that's going to be Zoms. So I think all should be fine.
Okay, well, Rise are taking the scenic route, going through the caves. I mean, you got to go quickly if you're actually going to put together a retake off of this. But look at Zoms trying to fish out. Maybe they did go all the way around the back. Will get a read and keeps his life. Very important stuff. And the only play that could have happened from the pinch from Poise is taken out. No problem. So Six is holding a corner. Good help here from 10. There will only be 1 kill to speak of. And Sentinels, as expected, take the anti-eco.
Yeah. I mean, you just have so much utility at your disposal with this Sentinels lineup that they have. I mean, you could dump all of Viper's utility on one site to kind of throw feints or use for actual attacks while still saving all the Astra Stars for the other side. So you can just kind of do this back and forth. Or you can stack all of it together and you're just like one massive blob into a site, basically. Like, good luck getting vision, good luck stopping them from cutting off angles. You combine that with an owl drone, some recons, the boom bot. There's just so much info gathering and denial capability that the Sentinels composition is going to have with this double controller in play. Look like this time they're looking to get a little bit hot and spicy early over at Hoop.
Shanks, though, does respond to this, able to at least keep Sentinels honest through Hookah, but they still will push forward. Clear will come out. Shanks playing through the Octagon does not expect Zoms to delay too long. They're trying to hold the corner. Will find one. Spams holds down the trigger, but can't find a second. It's Tens who collects the kill, and with that, Sentinels will plant.
Be a tough retake now for Rise. All 3 players still stuck in the defensive halls, trying to come through with their boom bot, try to get over towards container. They are able to get into the site itself, but and you still have 4 members remaining. You still have Sick with the showstopper as an insurance policy. Spike planted really well for them. Be a very tough ask for Rise.
Well, Sentinels are going to trust that that wasn't a full-on defuse. The only player to check that is Tens. He's blocked by Nebulous. Now Zoms has to go back forward. Tens to find the trade. Showstopper comes through with the 9. And that's it. He's holding for the defusal. And Ryan will sneak it right under the noses of Sentinels to bounce back, find the 3rd round. Beautifully done.
Oh, cutting off that showstopper was so clutch. That wins them the round. That gets them the retake. Again, they're down a man. They're having to use a bunch of utility just to get into the site itself. Obviously, they still don't really have a way to contend with Octagon and Hookah position.
That goes there.
Other than maybe a smoke here or there to try to block some vision. And then they just push out that showstopper and get the frag. That's so huge. What a frag. To take him out like that. You think Sick has that dead to rights and
Yeah.
just gets cut off and clotheslined.
Early guiding light comes through, actually flashes 3, but there was no follow-up from Shanks. Just holding on to Hookah aggressively. Recon bolt over the top, destroyed, but information still gained. Shock Dart going to clear out the front side of Hookah. Shanks just underneath, hiding inside of the nebula. A lot of utility getting pushed through and they actually spam down the wall. Find Shanks, no problem. Poised and Derek, the only players that are responsible for holding on, and Derek unfortunately cannot find Sick. Poised only good for 1, and again, Sentinels will collect and be able to find a way to plant here on B.
Spike plant.
Indeed. Tougher retake, even more this time for Rise, as now they only have 2 members for this one, but Superman able to find the opening frag pretty quickly there. Shazam, though, quick to respond. Neptune gets right back into it, and with Dapper being low on HP, maybe there's a chance.
This comes down to the timing of the beacon. Unfortunately, does not get the gun up in time. Dapper ready for the wide angle. So Sentinels, another quick round towards B, get the plant off early, but this time Rise not able to retake.
And that's a perfect example of when simpletons say that Sentinels just hold W. Yeah, maybe if you're just like really glancing at the minimap and not looking at anything else, you could say that, but the layering of utility gives them that capability, right? It's not only their fearlessness as players and their aim, it's also how they layer the snake bites, you know, around that 2 position to kind of block out that having to be an area of concern, being able to get those smokes down at elbow, at back halls, be able to use that to get some space, and then keep an eye on it, make sure that no one's going to push through it and do something crafty, you know, being disciplined to kind of keep an eye on the smokes. It's definitely a combination of things there for Sentinels, not just holding down the W key.
I don't know if Derek is going to recognize that his recon bolt did not connect with the billboard. It kind of went through. I mean, you saw for a moment, it was Zoms who was looking at it and was there to destroy it if needed to, but it doesn't connect. So Derek thinks maybe he's got an opportunity to push forward. Zoms denies him in now a very early 5v4 in which you still have Rise just on pistol upgrades.
Yeah, and they're having to just kind of stack U-Haul. And again, it's one of those rounds where you kind of have to roll the dice when you only have these basic pistols to work with for the most part. Sentinels Dapper going to use the orb to block U-Haul vision to get into site itself. Tin's also clearing out some corners there. And Dapper's aware of this possibility. You can see him throwing them the snake bite, shock dart follow up as well, and boom, that's Neptune down. And they're doing a great job of not dropping the ball in anti-eco situations. Like, they're paving their way into sites effectively. They're using their utility appropriately to, you know, give them sanctuary and not allow them to run into those traps. And they're up 4-1 now because of it.
A big round coming up here for Rise just to try to respond. But yeah, this whole play seemed a bit strange because the Nebula was there to try to maybe gain some space for Derek. But after that initial faulty kind of push through B main, well, it just turned into Sentinels, like you mentioned, is not giving away an advantage. Something that they were so good at, not just in Iceland, but before that. When they find an advantage, they rarely give away rounds or even deaths at that point.
There's all the alts now for the Rise in this round. All the alts.
Yeah, you have to win this round.
So, yeah, I mean, if you layer a couple of those appropriately, you should be able to make a big play somewhere, whether that be retake or holding a position. Sick, using his utility once again to get that hookah control. It's always a nice staple to have, right? If you're constantly able to get hookah presence here with your raise, it kind of denies intel and gives you a bunch of different options, but they're not ready for Neptune being boosted. He's able to get one, then goes down.
Oh, Derek Hunter's Fury locks down Shazam, almost connects with Tens as well. This gains a lot of space for Poise to continue to keep this Cyber Cage as the only bit of concealment he needs, but the Viper's Pit will provide a bit of a deterrence here. Poise is going to decide to push through this. He does have a couple of the trap wires to maybe keep him safe in case there is some sort of an existential play outside of the Viper's Pit. Defense is rotating quickly. Seeker's trying to help clear. Six still holding on to Hookah. That will be now Norn, but the Poise going to go right on inside. Cannot find Dapper. Big missed opportunity, so Sentinels still hold with 3v3 situations. Spike has not been planted yet, but it might not need to be. Ten's able to find one more. It's all on to the last 2 Rise defensive players. Shanks in the corner. He's got an operator and a pistol to use. He does find one. That will clear the Viper's Pit. Derek 1v2, not going to be able to find the first. Tens with 3 kills in the rounds, and Sentinels go up 5-1.
Yeah, such a great use of Viper's Pit there for Sentinels, not only for getting them sanctuary and getting them into the site, but also they were able to use their shooting patterns to bait people into coming into the pit, and then they had someone ready for it, right? Particularly when you saw Shanks there try to come in with Sky. I mean, it was basically being played like a fiddle. Sentinels were trying to get him to come in. They had Sick waiting for that very moment to happen, and it allowed them to just kind of keep ahead in the trading. Now, luckily for Rise, they didn't burn all their ults there. They only used 2. So they still have a lot coming into this next round, but so does Sentinels. And they have a very big firepower advantage.
Oh boy. And it's just after the Hunter's Fury, you feel so good about Rise's chance to hold off on the play. But woulda, coulda, shoulda. That's really the only way you could kind of frame up that previous round. Rise now in a very dire position. One-way Nebula gives Neptune an opportunity to play from up top. Does find one. Gravity Well will stall the play. Paint shells to follow. I believe he knows that he's got 10 stuck in a corner, but 10's able to slip through. Keeping his life is absolutely massive.
Yeah, that was big to be able to get away like that and at least keep yourself afloat. That they are still a man down, and 10 has no way to heal himself back yet. So this is still giving a huge edge here to Rise. Great crossfire for Neptune and Shanks here over towards U-Haul in closet position. And looks like they're able to start battling this attack back, though Shazam is able to get one, gets it into a 3-on-4, still has some time. They still have spike possession. They could still double back to the portal.
Shanks does not expect Shazam to free himself forward past the teleporter. He's going to
Oh,
find
no.
Victor U-Haul. This has all gone wrong. Zymes finds the third. This was a 3v4 favoring Rise. Yes, of course, they're just on SMGs, but you felt so good about their crossfire locking down main.
Yeah, I mean, Neptune and Shanks certainly did have the perfect positioning there. They also did a great job pressuring 10's off and basically making him a non-factor going forward. It really was down to Shazam to make the play at that point, and Tommy was able to do it with a combination of shock darts and wit. Able to get himself in such a prime position in U-Haul and just come up with 3 big frags, and that's one of the great values about Shazam. I mean, if you look at this roster, you obviously praise Sick due to his consistency, right? Because he's always plays at a very, very high level, and he's very flexible on what agents he can play. Then obviously you have 10's who's just, you know, the shock and awe factor, the star, right? But Shazam is that guy who I think finally got his credit at Iceland, where not only is he a leader, and he's been able to figure out a way to put all the parts together on this team role-wise and get them operating at a high level tactically, but he also can, when need be, come out and make a big play like that individually. He was one of their best fraggers at Iceland, in fact. So really well done there by him to save the day.
So now Rise looking at 3 ultimates to potentially spend. Cosmic Divide, Showstopper, Neural Theft on the table in their next buy round, and one that you feel like you need to win. And unfortunately, Derek, I don't think has actually seen the information on this play from Sentinels. Now we'll confirm it. Aldrone will be through to also double check to see how many players are here. Lear will come out. Penn still wants to maybe take away an angle, but he's not going to really gain too much with this. Derek still holding his ground.
Yeah, that was good. Derek got key information. Not only did he spot 2 players, but he spotted 2 players, right? And that kind of gives him an idea of whether this is like more of just kind of default and map control, you know, or whether this is like a committal type thing where they're really looking to get heavy-handed on the B side of the map. Not only that, they maintain control of hookah position this time around, which is a big adjustment because they've been losing that pretty often in the early round. So being able to maintain that gives them a lot more to play with on B site, utility-wise and personnel-wise, and also gives them a little bit more flexibility to have this third player rotating now over to A side and be prepared for this attack, as we are seeing the orb go down and it'll start to look to pave the way up short.
Gravity Well will stall them for a bit. Superman, though, gets spammed through the toxic screen. Oh, what a key loss that is. Boys now has to essentially vacate heaven to get onto the site itself, trying to contest from any sort of a point, but Ken seems to know that he's here, and yeah, sure does. Finds the kill, responds from the last defender over through U-Haul, and then Derek, who tried to wander on in, denied. Only play available would be Neptune from the flank, as he was previously in hookah, but Shazam reads that as well, so flawless again from Sentinels, and all of a sudden, things look a bit desperate for Rise, down 1-7.
That's one of those situations where knowing is half the battle. Like, yeah, they got a good read on Octagon early. Yeah, they got a good 3-man rotation. But again, with that layering of Astra and Viper utility, there's so much vision blocking going on there to give Sentinels a lot of pocket space to kind of maneuver through. And it gets to a point where, yeah, like, look at Poise being forced to just play like a really tough position, being forced to jump out heaven, play in that back corner, basically get stuck there. And it just doesn't really allow them a whole lot of play. So Sentinels, again, just being very overbearing and are able to come into this round with a huge edge.
Oh, Eric. That is going to be a huge bit of damage coming through. Sick wants the contest, and oh, actually, Neptune wants to give him a go up here. And the double peek is actually very successful. That was a solo play from Sick, by the way. So a weapon has been collected. Opportunity here, maybe pull off a thrifty if they can get away. Dapper was quick to follow up and does find elimination, but Superman, meanwhile, mid-map, keeps the numbers in favor of the side of Rise. Trying to hold the ground is poised. He will fall, and all of a sudden, the advantage of the AR picked up has been denied. Derek, who is tagged down heavily, will also fall, and it's on to Super and Shanks to try to contest, and they want to go quickly. Flash will come through. Dapper playing through long, though, will deny any extra engagement, and that will be Sentinels taking the 8th round.
And that's another thing that makes Sentinels so good that you have to really highlight here, Shift, and that is their ability to be reactionary and decisive when things start to go wrong. When you start getting buried in all the chaos of the mid-round, you're, having a push get used against you, you lose a player, you're giving a gun away, Shazam gets caught on short, things are going wrong, but it's in that moment where they very quickly decide, all right, let's send it, we have to, and they just plow into B. They know that they have Derek pinned down, low health back aside, they're able to clear that out, they're able to at least battle back and chase down the exchange that happened at Hookah, and able to still come with the victory despite, some of the things that went against them early on in the round.
A little bit more of aggressive defensive prodding going on here from both sides of the map. Successful through B-Long, unsuccessful through Shower. So we stay 4v4. Superman on 1 HP, that's the big key. But Sentinels are committing forward to get on towards A. Defensively, there is nobody here at the moment for Rise. But still, Sentinels a little bit apprehensive to go for a quick plant, so they still can fight back.
Yeah. The problem is there's no Shanks or Ego, so Superman's stuck on this 1 HP, which makes him such a low factor in being able to have impact on this retake now. Stick looking to go all the way up with these rockets, and at least it's the 1 health player, I guess, for Rise's sake, but still a tough one.
Yeah, ultimate versus health comparison. Not exactly full value, but the elimination in the space, more importantly, was big. But Neptune can respond of one of his own, able to take down Dapper. Shazam playing from a clutch spot deep through middle. 10's here to guard him with an Empress. Space been gained. Neptune gonna stick on in. Hunter's coming out. 10 wants to peek through it, and he finds himself two. One more available. Able to still dismiss on the backside of the Hunter's Fury, and the finesse from 10's exquisite. That will be good for 4 and the round. 9-1 up our Sentinels.
Even when you think you got it wrapped up, you can never quite count on it to be gifted to you. I mean, I have to give credit to Rise. They used a great combination of Neural Theft and Showstopper to actually get themselves a numbers advantage back, despite, losing Superman inside Heaven thanks to the Showstopper of Sick and just all the space the Sentinels were getting on site and getting that safe post plant. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, you got a combination of Tinge and Shazam ults just bobbing and weaving around and able to still steal the round away from them.
Early aggression here from Rise, and oh boy, it's all gone wrong. One flash will come through. That's just to get the Shanks away from the play initially. Tries to retake, but it's only good for 1 elimination. Looking good for 10 unless Poise can double up. Not going to be the case, and it's just down to Derek with a Marshall for a 1v3.
Yeah, some might say that Bond's looking like a breeze for Sentinels.
Hey,
you can take that one a bunch of different ways. Now, I actually just came up with that. No lie.
I'm really proud of you.
That's my job here for 2 years, so I hope that I could every now and then come up with a nugget.
A golden nugget at that.
Last round before the switch.
One of those.
True.
Here.
There's something to be said about how Golden Sentinels are looking right now, but I'm not going to go there.
Yep.
Yes, this should do.
Although I think you could argue I just did, but
yeah, you did.
Oh, this is a nice spot.
It's almost like a humble brag when you do something like that. It's like, I'm not going to do this, but
it's like, well, for me, it's like I'm not creative to think of something on the spot right now, but my mind is working on it, so trust that I had something built up and was trying to spare the audience at large.
Yeah, I mean, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take in commentary. You can also get yourself into a lot of trouble, don't get me wrong, so be careful on what shots you take, but, take a shot every now and then.
Speaking of, Sentinels aggressively through Hookah, and oh my lord. It's just the spam that we've seen a couple of different rounds here through the edge of Hookah hasn't even give Rise a chance to fight back. Seeker's from behind, sure, but Shanks is so far away from this play. Derek is trying to delay with the Hunter's Fury. He does find one to his credit. But actually, Shanks doesn't go.
Okay.
Wow, okay. I thought by the Seekers coming from behind, they would have known that the play was going to be here sooner rather than later, but not the case. So the spike doesn't get planted. Trailblazer will see Shazam and Rise get salvaged in the second round here, pending.
Last player standing.
Zoms doesn't do something unbelievable. And well, this is going to be a very difficult 1v2 as he will have to re-aggress back into the site.
Yeah, if his teammate could have stayed alive a little bit longer, maybe he finds a way to get this 1v1 against Derek and get in. But now he's stuck in a very difficult 1v2. He does have time. That's about all he's got going for him right now. Trying to find a way in here. Gets 1v1, but Derek able to win the duel. And so Rise fits another one in there right at the end. But, I mean, outside of that, there wasn't a whole lot to highlight, unfortunately. They had a couple of rounds that were pretty close, but it's just, again, Sentinels were a little bit more comfortable in being reactionary in some of those chaotic mid-round moments and came out on top on the vast majority of them. So, again, like Breeze, a big lead going in the second half.
Indeed. So you said they needed 5 or 6. Not the case. So see if Rise can find a way to respond on the offense when we come back after this. Welcome back, everybody. I hold shift with Dust, and a very similar scoreline to what we had in Breeze. Only one extra round to the positive here for Rise. It's been an all Sentinels affair, and a required pistol coming up here, Dust, if Rise want to stay in this series.
Yeah, and it's going to be tough, too, considering that Sentinels, with this lineup, has been well over 60% win rate defensively. And with 10 rounds already in the bag, seems almost unquestionable they'll eventually find what they need to get out of this one with the dub, but hopefully Rise can maybe try to put some doubt in that, as this pistol is certainly a necessity. Becomes a bit of a cliche sometimes when people talk about how important a pistol round is, but it really is when you're this far behind.
Yeah.
You can handle a loss if it's like 7-5, 6-6, something like that. Even 8-4.
8-4, as I said, that's where I draw the line. Yeah.
Yeah, but once you're like down double digits, it's like, all right, that pistol, we're gonna need that.
Yeah. But Rise have avoided the early prodding of information from Sentinels mid-map, and they're looking to re-aggress here. It will cost them an owl drone. Sick will be here to read this. And also still has the paint shells. Oh
Spike down
my.
A.
Just the way that he takes that shell. Unreal. 10's up top. No problem. He's got a headshot at
One
range.
enemy
What
remaining.
in the heavens is that? Rise will have to escape into the teleporter, but that is an escape that doesn't really provide them any safety whatsoever.
Superman's about to get memed on. Let's be real about it. The man's about to get
30
absolutely wrecked.
seconds left.
Yeah, go ahead and play like Astral Chess, but you're about to get wrecked here.
Recovering
They're
it.
trying to make sure he's still in the portal right now. They don't
Yeah,
know for
yeah.
sure. I think maybe he might have got out of it. Fountain. Now they know.
Oh,
That's a nice little shot. Not the best you could have hoped for, really.
but that is
I was expecting
very...
like 3 teleporters
Yeah,
with
for
knives
real.
out or something. That's a tough loss, though, in the grand scheme of things. Though, I mean, it forces you to force buy basically, and it just makes it an uphill climb. It's
This is
already
just so
won,
good.
and now it's just deeper. Yeah, Tim just had it away.
Enemy remaining.
Even the peak from Sick in the first place, like the confidence to know, yeah, the owl drone is there, but if I throw paint shells in the middle of this play and still peek, at worst I go 1 for 1, maybe even 1 for 2.
Right.
Unbelievable. Well, Dapper shakes, maybe eyeing up potential play through showers, and Dapper is just going to make sure nobody will push through, so he will get out. And for Rise, it all really falls on this force buy situation with these upgraded pistols and SMGs.
Yeah, we already see Shanks taking a little bit of chip damage from the snake bite of Dapper, so it softens him up just a little bit going forward. Not too big of a deal, but small things start adding up when you're this far behind.
Yeah.
So you are going to see Rise trying to make an approach here with Poise through long. Shock Dart able to clear out Octagon to give him that little bit of space. Also has a player trying to get into Hookah at the same time. Great shot from Poise indeed. But the chase from Sick, Zombs is starting to give them right back the edge.
Spike was never a part
Oh,
of
that's
the
a
play,
big
though,
catch.
and Supa makes his way forward. And beyond that, I don't think anyone's read that Shanks is as far past as he's gotten. So the spike will be retrieved. That's Derek who has it in hand. Sentinels are committing to rotate over, but this is
30
a
seconds
3v4
left.
where they don't even really
Right.
hold the weapon advantage. So this retake is going to have to be sooner rather than later.
Oh.
My, not like this. Not like
Last player
this.
standing.
I love that from Zombs, knowing that Sick is in an exposed position. Down below, he had just jumped. He was probably going to get killed, and Zombs is right there running in to make sure he doesn't get a trade off of it.
10 seconds left.
Again, that is a decisiveness that makes Sentinel so great.
Man. It's just like the
I know that's
timing
like a really
of the
small
peak,
detail,
too.
but
Match point.
it's a small detail. But when you start adding it all up, and you just start to realize how together this team is.
If that peak comes a second later, rises through the teleporter back over to B.
Mm-hmm.
Man. Not a lot of ground fear for Rise to stand on. In
Nope.
fact, you would probably figure they're being charged by the minute here. So 12-2 the count, and man, it's just there's not a lot going right here for Rise in this map 1 or map 3 now.
After it gets pushed off by the cam, Aljo does a good job pushing Sick back deep into U-Haul, so we are seeing Rise getting a little bit of space here. They're trying to use that with the blast pack to get up there and get a pick, but Sentinel's able to keep dropping back little by little, but they still wind up folding. Big entries from Rise here. They need this to survive, obviously, and at least they're going to get a plant.
That's not bad at all. A lot of that was actually through the chip damage from the decay as well, so beautiful response here from Rise. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, though. They've got a long way to go. Regrowth will actually get this team back to essentially full HP, though, so that's good news. And Superman, little wide peek onto 10s, no problem. Boys looking for the same onto Zombs. No, surely not.
Surely not.
Weapons
Last
been picked up by
player
Shazam, though.
standing.
He's got an angle at this. Able to find one. No, don't give him the second. Just don't give him the second. Okay.
Oh, they almost did. They almost gave him a chance there. Even Shanks I was a bit concerned about when he got spotted by Shazam. I thought maybe there was a chance there, but they do get it done, and it really just comes down to like great use of their cam, great use of the Owl Drone to start forcing players back, give them an initial space to start pushing into sight, and then getting those clean entries. The thing is, can you do that 10 more times in a row?
Well, if you're looking for an answer from me, you're not going to get a positive reaction to it.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough. I guess 9 times in a row to guarantee overtime.
Yeah. But at least they do have Sentinels on the pistols, so
That's true.
silver linings again.
Yeah, but the alts are coming back here soon for
Yep.
Sentinels as well. They'll be bought back next round also, so they really have to start getting into like 9 or so rounds before you really start to put faith in the full-on comeback for OT, but one step at a time.
Cage triggered.
Information here, Shazam. No. My goodness.
Okay.
Still, though,
That
the fact
would've
that he
been
gets one. It's already stalled the play, and Sick
Spike
gets one more
down.
mini
That's
map.
Spike.
That is Spike indeed, my friend. So Sick will move forward. With the collecting SMG, Zombs is actually working this now with him. Seekers have been sent. Recon Bolt will reveal one. Although, Seekers, in combination with the Guiding Light, have both been deleted. Sick
Last
looking to
player
take this fight
standing.
aggressively, but Derek will find the second. And even though there was a bit of electricity in the air, it looks like Rise should be cruise control for a win. I mean, it's just after on Frenzy, he would have to do something unbelievable.
And that Trailblazer pretty much seals the deal.
30
No
seconds left.
way for him to be the snake in the grass any longer. Shanks will clear him out, and Rise will get the W. It's always scary when you have to work that hard for a round you're already this far behind and you're up against a low buy. It just, I feel like it keeps like Sentinels on a mental high. Like they know what they've got. They know that they're still causing trouble even when they're dropping a couple of rounds here and there. They still have plenty of room to burn. Now they're back onto several alts and full rifles, so big moment here for Rise. I feel like this is the round that gives you that juicy need to maybe start feeling
sure.
the comeback. If you can get this one, force another save, get yourself to 6, all of a sudden,
Revealing area.
you know, the distance you need to travel looks a little bit shorter.
Shanks? No. He thought he was cheeky.
Can't have that.
Yeah, avoiding the boom bot, but not the case. And Boys also falls. Not looking good here. 5v3 situation. No room for Rise to work with anywhere on the map. Unless maybe Derek can isolate Shazam here, but I think Shazam did catch the shoulder and is not interested in being gate kept, so he will back away. And it really all falls on what happens in this playthrough B-Long.
Yeah, I mean, they have to just send it at this point, but they're already down 2 players. It's a great setup here for Shazam and Tins, holding the octagon position. Not really a way forward for them. Great little trade there, thanks to Shazam. And
Spike
Zombs.
down B.
1 left.
Neptune 1v3, trying to force it, not going to
Defenders
happen.
win.
So a handful of one-sided affairs here and there leads to Sentinels taking the series 2-1, and it's just off the back end of just 2 convincing maps. I mean, you mentioned it, you know, the rust off the ring, just kind of getting back